Hey guys, so I'm back home in New York right now, and today I just wanted to make a fun video. I mean, not that this is really fun, as you can tell by the title, but maybe it'll be helpful. I know it's different, it's not like beauty related or anything, but those kinds of videos will be going up both tomorrow and tomorrow's Friday, right? Yeah, tomorrow and Saturday. So I'm going to be posting 3 days in a row, considering I wasn't able to post yesterday. My flight wound up getting delayed on the way home, so I didn't really have time to film, edit, and upload yesterday. But ever since I posted my video last week of me like bawling my eyes out practically on camera, a lot of people have messaged me just kind of about random things, or how I either deal with depression or how I deal with like certain things. So one of the things that I felt like was most relatable to pretty much everyone was the fact that we all get into ruts sometimes, and it's not something that necessarily we can control going into. You kind of don't really notice that you're getting yourself into a rut until you're already in it. So I wanted to talk to you guys how I get out of my ruts, and one of the things that I've been experiencing recently is actually being in a rut. So thankfully within the past 2 weeks, like, things have changed enough where I am breaking out of certain things and changing my mindset. So I'm gonna go through some of those things so I can tell you guys what I think. The first thing is to declutter, and I know that's so cliche and everyone's like, oh really, like this is gonna be one of those videos. Monkey's like rolling all over the camera area. Say hi. Say hi. She's just gonna sit on my lap. So I think that when you declutter, it actually just helps you, like, once you physically get organized and you just see everything kind of go into its place and whatever, you're able to then mentally detox your mind. Because for me at least, I can't sit there and mentally detox my mind and find myself being able to find motivation and inspiration when everything around me is just a disaster. So I actually, not only do I clean my actual room, and I'll a lot of the times, like, I'll completely reorganize my closets, but I also do that with emails and social media messages and whatnot, even if that means that I'm not responding to everyone, because obviously you guys know it's always hard, especially I feel like if you're a girl, you tend to get a lot more Facebook messages than guys do, I think, at least. So I find it really hard to respond to everyone. Sometimes I'll check through them, sometimes I'll just delete them if it's something that maybe is, even if it's a nice message, it's just taking up a lot of time constantly responding to people. So those kinds of things, I just delete it, get it out of sight, out of mind, whatever it is, what it is, it's done. I do that with everything. So that goes for cleaning my room, cleaning my closet, going through emails, social media. I even declutter pictures out of my phone. I know that might be a little bit weird to some people, but I don't like having a ton of pictures on my phone. Not only does it take up a lot of storage, but it just makes me feel unorganized. I will say that I actually recently started making albums in my phone, just to keep everything like in its place, and I'm actually keeping pictures on my phone that remind me of my favorite people or my favorite things to do, just to look back on those things whenever I'm feeling like I'm having a little bit of a down moment. I'll just look back at those pictures and they just make me happy. Now for the second tip, I actually recommend that after you do all of this decluttering, you sit there and you figure out what your comfort zone is. And I like doing this more at night, just when I have like time to myself, and you know, I don't have anything else to do for the rest of the day, just so I can really sit there and truly think about what my comfort zone is. Because once you start realizing what it is that you are so stuck in, that's when you're able to remove yourself. A lot of the times when we're stuck in a rut, you may not be able to point your finger on what's making you feel that way, and if you can, that's wonderful, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's just simply that you are almost bored out of your mind, basically. So you need to figure out what's making you feel that way, and a lot of the times that tends to stem from our comfort zone. So for me, I noticed when I was recently going through my rut and whatever, I was just doing the same things like every single day, like so boring. I was just so bored with everything, and it's not that I wasn't grateful for things, but I was so bored out of my mind. And even just being around, almost, not that I was around bad people, but being around the same people every day, it was just causing my mind to almost turn into their minds, and I'm not that person that they were, so like, or that they are or whatever. So you know, that was something in itself. So I think you need to sit there and figure out what your comfort zone is and break out of that, because once you break out of it, you're going to start to break your mental pattern of thinking. I just had to bring Monkey downstairs because she's acting like crazy right now. She keeps knocking over my tripod. So yeah, my next tip it actually may not be beneficial for everyone, but this is something that has changed my life completely. Now, I've always, you guys know, I've told you this plenty of times, I've always loved reading ever since I was little. Actually, when I was little, my dream job was to be a librarian because that's how much I love books. But for me, I always read for inspiration, and what I find to be so beneficial about this, even if you're not a big reader, I'm not like telling you go read like a novel or a fictional story, whatever it is, but if you read self-help books about the issue that you're dealing with, whether it's, you know, it doesn't matter what it's about, there's a book on it. There's definitely books on like pretty much anything, and I'll list a ton of them in the blog linked below. If you actually just read other people's perspectives on an issue that you're dealing with, you will really begin to open your mind, and you'll see a bunch of different solutions to one problem rather than just thinking the one way that you're able to think. Because a lot of the times it just takes an open mind to be able to be like, oh, you know what, never thought of it that way, like that makes a lot of sense. Actually, one book in particular, it's called Why Does He Do That, has helped me. That was probably the most helpful book, and it's not necessarily relevant to me right now, but that's got to be the most helpful book I had ever read in my life, because it got me out of one of the worst situations in my entire life, because it just changed my mind. It changed my paradigm of a certain thing that I was dealing with, and I had never seen it the way that it was expressed in that book. And once I saw it that way, because I was exposed to that pattern of thinking, I was like, oh wow, well, that was completely different, and then my life changed ever since that book. So even if you're not a reader, look for inspiration maybe on like Pinterest, because you know, even if you look at like different quotes and things like that, or pictures of certain things, you'll just start to envision a different life, I guess you would say. So I find that to be extremely helpful for me. I don't know if that'll help you all, but it definitely helped for me. My next tip is to change your environment. And now I know that we kind of talked about this as far as the comfort zone goes, but one of my biggest things is changing not only your physical environment. Like for me, I'm home a lot, especially doing YouTube, you know, this is, you know, where I sleep. This is where I come home every night. This is where I film my videos. This is, you know, this is just, I'm here all the time, and I love my home. I love my room. You guys know that I'm like the biggest homebody ever, but being able to break out of that is so refreshing. You know, for the past 2 weeks, I've been like pretty much down in DC almost the entire time, except for like one day I came back for like 24 hours. But being able to break out of that routine and being able to see different things, and you don't need to go, you know, far. Like you don't need to go like take flights to go out somewhere, but if you can just, you know, go to a park that you never go to, or go to the beach that you never go to, whatever it is, I think breaking that will help your mind just like open, and it'll start like being so refreshing for you, and you'll really appreciate it. But with that said, that also goes for people. It's always really hard, especially for me, to like cut people out of my life completely. You like never want to do that. You don't want to burn any bridges, and you don't want people to, you know, you just don't want to leave things on a bad note. But with that said, sometimes people are not meant to be in your life forever. I think everyone has their purpose and their time in your life, and thankfully for a lot of people that means forever. That means that they're going to be in your life for the rest of your life, but that doesn't stand for absolutely everyone. This is especially relevant with people who are toxic for you, and a lot of the times we don't realize when people are toxic in our lives, you know. It's hard if you have like if you've had a friend forever, or you've been in a long-term relationship that's maybe not necessarily a bad relationship, but it's something that's not making you happy and is maybe dragging you down a little bit because you don't have the same motives in life, or whatever the case is. It can be really hard, but that is a form of like being toxic. It's a form of being stuck in something that's no longer making you happy and is sort of bringing you down in different ways. Sometimes people will hinder you at your next level, and they've already served your purpose in life, and you can be forever grateful for what you have already experienced with them, but if you keep bringing them with you forward, it's going to keep dragging you backwards. That was one of my biggest changes that I had to make recently, and it's always like a really tough decision, and it's like, not only do you get confused, you're like, should I do it, should I not do it, but then you're like, I don't know, you know, for someone like me who I don't really go out a lot, I don't have a lot of people who live around me, you know, especially being in pageants, I have friends who live in every single state, pretty much but New York, so it's like, it's really hard because you don't live by your friends and, you know, all those kinds of things, but you learn to sort of cope with it, you know. I think it's really nice with like technology, where now you can stay in touch with people who don't live, you know, right around the block from you. You know, you can FaceTime people, we can text, we can Snapchat, do, you know, whatever. There's plenty of forms of communication that you can stay in touch with people until you see them. So I think that's an extremely important thing, because the second I started changing the people in my life, my mind changed, my life has changed, and I feel a lot more motivated and a lot more energetic, as crazy as that sounds. I've had like non-stop energy. I mean, I'm like crashing a little bit because I'm not feeling too well right now, because I've also been on the go for like 2 weeks, but I like literally have been so energetic lately, and I just think it's because I've just been around new people and just my environments have completely changed. I feel like I can be awake 24/7, constantly working towards my goals without feeling overwhelmed, and just doing things that always make me happy. And my last and final tip is to set small goals, and I mean tiny, tiny, tiny goals. It's really hard for someone who's in a rut to like think on a big scale and be like, oh my gosh, I have to do this right now, and it's just like, it's too much. Especially for me, I can't handle all that, so I need to set the smallest of goals. Like, I don't care if I only set like one small, tiny goal every single day or whatever it is that just gets me like one step closer to being to where my happiness is, then that's what I have to do. It doesn't matter. I always want to set something that I know is attainable. That way I'm not just sitting there and just looking at it and like, I'm like, I can't do this, you know. It's always got to be something that's attainable and something that I will be very proud to achieve at the same time. And most importantly, something that makes me happy, not just something that makes other people happy. I think a lot of the times when we're in ruts, a lot of the times it's just because we're not focusing on our happiness. Sometimes we can be focusing on, well, is this person gonna get upset, or is this person gonna feel like I'm not thinking about them? And of course you always want to take other people's emotions into consideration as well, but you really need to take your own emotions into consideration. So if something is really not making you happy, or maybe you're going to school for the wrong major, or you're trying to go to school to please your parents rather than, you know, do something that pleases you, I think that's all like a compromise that you need to start having with yourself, and, you know, sit there and talk to yourself and be like, hey, you know what, not anymore, I'm not doing it anymore. So I think you should only do things that just feed your soul. That way you are always feeling happy, you're always feeling full of life and full of energy, and you know that nobody can take that from you. So yeah, that's basically it. Those are my few tips. I mean, I can go on like a rant with like a million tips of things that I would do being in a rut, but this is just one of them. And actually one of the things that has helped me, by the way, side note, that's helped me, sorry, my dog is barking. One of the things that's really helped me get out of this rut is YouTube. YouTube has helped me open up my little creative outlet in my mind and be able to talk to you guys about pretty much anything. I know that I can talk to you guys about absolutely anything, and it's just awesome. So, you know, definitely find a hobby, find something that you love to do, or find a job, you know, something that you love to do. Even if it is YouTube, I'm telling you, YouTube is the best job I think anyone could have. And yeah, that's basically it. So if you guys have any more tips or whatever it is, leave it in the comment section below. If you guys didn't see the crying video that I was telling you about, click right here and you can go watch that right now and let me know what you think about that one, because I don't think I've ever cried on camera before. I don't really cry like that often, so that was interesting. But yeah, I am really looking forward to posting tomorrow's video and Saturday's video, and then we'll be back to our normal Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday routine on next week. Yeah, and that's basically it. I'm gonna let you guys know also, like in my blogs, I may be blogging a little bit more like random things, just like my everyday life types of things, and that way you guys can see what I'm doing and keeping up with me throughout the rest of my reign as Miss Alaska World. And I think I may be traveling. I told you I think I may be traveling a little bit more now too, so we'll see. I don't know. Life has just thrown me curveballs lately, and I love it. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I hope you guys like my robe also. This is from Forever 21, and it was like 15 bucks, and I just saw it one day, and it looked so comfortable, so I just walked in and I bought it. And I'm wearing it right now because I'm not going anywhere for the night. So yeah, that's basically it. Okay, I'm done ranting. I just keep talking. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.